Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Jesse Jackson III, best-selling author and facilitator of the Don't Kick 'em Out book and training series, and the lead advisor and consultant here at the Best Man Company, LLC, which we have recently started our School Leadership Institute, which is off to a phenomenal start, working with leaders all over the country and outside of the country, which is, to me, it's really, really cool. It's a great blessing. Talking to you and always talking to my school leaders, superintendents, principals, and school board members, talking about the necessity of understanding the difference between a leader and a manager. They're not the same. We have in education, we call them school leaders. Well, they're not leaders. These are people who are managers. Their positions are leadership positions. They are not trained in leadership. Leadership is a discipline. They always ask the question, are leaders born? Some. Can you learn to be a leader? Absolutely. You can absolutely learn to be a leader. And I think you can get better with it over time. You know, being natural born, having natural born leadership qualities where you can attract people and people want to follow you, that's personality based. It still don't mean you know what you're doing. Okay. That's one thing I'm talking to leadership about. Competence. It's three things that leaders have to have. First of all, it's the ability, we call it leadership maturity. Leadership maturity means you are comfortable with being in charge, not you're uncomfortable. When you're comfortable with being in charge, you understand the necessity of confrontation. Confrontation is an act of love. It's an attempt to preserve our relationship. Conflict is negative. Those are people that like to argue. Conflict, everything conflict. You know, it's a problem. And I disagree with you. Nobody asked you. Sit down. I disagree. I want to give you a little pushback. Be quiet and sit down. Pushback. When I hear this in leadership circles, talking about, well, the staff is pushing back, I almost fall out my chair, man. I've been in business 20 plus years. I have people who work for me. The concept of pushing back, I don't comprehend. What do you mean? How does that look? I asked somebody that, what does pushback look like? Pushback is foolishness. See, leaders have to be comfortable with being in charge, because places where people know they got a leader, they're not pushing back. They just don't like what you said. Leaders don't see because you don't like it as pushback. Pushback is when you're trying to get everybody to push forward. That's not going to happen all of the time. Leaders have to be a person that's comfortable with discomfort. Meaning, if you're going to lead adults, educated people, I mean, what chances do you think you can go through your career without touching a feeling? It's not a day to go by in my trainings I don't touch a feeling. And here's the thing. I'm the most empathetic guy in the world, super humble. I'm there for my students. I don't want nobody to ever get up from a training seat with me with their feelings hurt or feeling like I disregarded them, because I don't do that. It's just not my life. The thing is, you got to understand, when you're leading people, a lot of people got their own stuff going on, and they bring their world and try to infringe on yours and disrupt your journey. So this is why confrontation is absolutely necessary. This is why leadership maturity, absolutely necessary. You'd have to be mature as a leader. I'm comfortable with being in charge. You don't have to be, I used to make a statement, and one of my teachers corrected me. I would say, you got to be comfortable with being a bad guy. And he said, well, nobody has to be the bad guy. Nobody does have to be the bad guy. You just got to be comfortable with the fact that everybody won't like what you do. You know what that's called? That's called being a parent. You know what that's called? Being a supervisor. You know what that's called? Being a teacher. You know what that's called? Being an adult. You know what that's called? Being married. See, it's being an adult. See, you can't be a leader and be a people pleaser. Now, people are happy with good results. 90% of people love good results. People love a winner. That's why they call me. I'm a winner. They know Listen, they know I'm winning. Blue ribbon schools, schools from F's to B's, F's to A's. Getting a school that's been a habitual F to a D, that ain't a victory to you? Come on, man, getting out of here. Helping an organization that has a 50% turnover, cut it down to a 20% turnover in 1 year. That's called measurement, right? Having a school that was a fight club the year before, right? They were a fight club, 50 plus fights. The first year with me, we've got the fights under 15. See, this is the stuff, a lot of the stuff, you've got to understand leadership maturity. A mature leader knows what to look for. A lot of times, a lot of folks can't see the big picture because they don't have the maturity in the leadership role. They're not comfortable with being in charge. They, as my coach used to say, they don't see the floor. Leaders got to see the floor, point guard vision. Magic Johnson, I can see all 94 feet. I can see it before the play is developing right before my eyes. And I know where you're going. I don't even have to look over there. I'm throwing a rock and you running up the lane to put it down. Vision, the leader. Second thing that a leader has to have versus a manager's take instructions, right? They're really good at, a really good manager, a really good AP is a person who follows instructions. They will execute what you put in place, managing it. They manage issues. Now, here's the deal. I always ask the question, are you a leader or manager? And then when I hear people say, well, Jackson, I'm both. Well, I always say, that's bad. And they're ignorant. Some are ignorant, don't get it. And they'll be like, well, I think you have to be both. You don't know no better. I know you don't know no better. That's why you're saying that. Now, I didn't say, are you doing both jobs? Okay, right. So, because when you're a principal, a lot of times you're going to have to do both jobs if you're not staffed properly, or a lot of times if you don't know. Here's where a lot of principals really get in trouble. They have APs that are not helping them properly, and they'll end up just doing it for them so to keep them out their way. The guaranteed failure method. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. So you doing your leadership assessment right now, man, you got to level with yourself, man. See, you can do all that faking stuff, man. You can do all that making up stories. One thing you can try to lie to Jackson, but you can't lie to yourself. You know if you're making progress or not. And the second thing that's so important about it is, are you coachable? There's people who are good at listening, and there are people who are not. My rule in my program, this is why I've had the success we've had. My rule, if you do not listen, I do not talk to you again. I'm not trying to convince nobody of anything. And you ask the people, ask the thousands that have come through my program, ask the hundreds that are with me today. People have still been with me 10 years, right? 10 years. How have I followed you your whole career? It's because they're coachable. They know what they're hearing works. They just do what I ask them to do. What am I asking people to do based on what I know? We don't do opinions. You ask my people. He never gives you his opinion. Because opinions are for sports and music and politics and theory. I'm busy. I talk for a living. I don't have time to be telling you what I think. I can tell you what I know. I've stayed there. And people will tell you that's been with me, I won't get you beat. I will not get you beat. I'm going to always give it. We don't push up against the line. We don't do controversy. We don't take risks and chances. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? This is your career, your name, your life. These are your staff. These are our students. We don't take risks. We don't do things that are foolish and we think might work. You got to know what works. And that's what makes you a leader. A leader has a vision, man. They got to know what works. And that's the reason why we are changing models every year. Literally, we'll have somebody spend $2 million on something. They'll spend $80,000 on this one training 1 year. And then the next year they got a new person in there. Explain to me how that makes sense to you. Explain to me how you found your job is to find a training and trainer that work and stay with them. What is in your head to tell you, oh, let's change let's get somebody else, let's get a new. You missed it. What you were looking for is a keynote speaker. You're not looking for training. I had some friends of mine tell me they went to a conference. They said, man, this conference, man, they bring these speakers, these motivational speakers, and everybody sitting in the room, 400 people. Yeah, he told a great story. He didn't tell us what to do. His story moved us. He didn't tell us what to do. Doc Jack is breaking it down. Do X, Y, Z, bam. And always my first step is always start with yourself. First rule on the airplane, secure your mask first before helping others. A lot of people don't like that because when they hear that, that takes the other excuses away. Now you're just looking at yourself. So that's leadership right there. Okay. So you got to be coachable. If you won't listen, I'm not talking to you. You know, get off the video. If you're not listening, we're past opinions. This is not a sports podcast. This is not music and telling you my review. Our business comes down to who's in charge. Teachers want to work for a leader, somebody they believe in, who believes in them. They want to follow somebody with a hardcore, concrete vision. People that know what they're doing, that see the future, and it's gonna, we believe in you and you believe in us, and we'll give you everything we got to help these kids win. That's Teacher 101. It's never changed. It'll never change. This is not hard. This is not brain surgery. It is very straightforward. This is the people business. So if you're one of those people who we got to use the data, but you can't think outside of the data and you don't understand people, you are creating your own problem. This is the people business. And our students are people, our parents are people, our school boards are people, our teachers are people, our principals are people, our central office people, and our superintendent's a person. So the thing that I have to always stress to us, you got to be coachable. That's your personality. That means you got to be able to be coached hard. I coach everybody with me hard. I got 7 superintendents that saved their company during COVID. They will tell pandemic. They'll tell you, Jackson coached them hard the whole way through the pandemic. Came out, surpluses of budget, kept their staff healthy, got their kids in school, bought thousands of Chromebooks, got everybody online. And guess what? They saved that company. I didn't play with them. I love them. The same rain is falling on us all. What are we going to do about it? When you're in leadership and when people are counting on you and you're sitting in that number one chair, you don't get the privilege of being able to, you know what, you can do that? You can do that one-to-one with me. But you got to be able to get your mind right and be coachable. All the championship leaders I've ever worked with are very coachable. And everybody that's been with me, they'll tell you Jackson coaches hard. Jackson's always straight up with you. He don't do sugar. If you're off, he gonna tell you. When you're on, you get I love you. You're doing a great job. You're legendary. That's where it's at. And then 3, be proactive versus reactive. Right now, we have schools and districts creating reactionary policies. I told you the fighting was going to be there. You're reacting to it. I told you the trauma was going to get us beat. You're reacting to it. The kids can't read. You're reacting to it. When proaction wins the fight. Every school in the country needs to get that Fighting Prevention Institute. Come to the Fighting Prevention Institute online. Every school, suburbs, inner city, rural. If you've had one fight, you better get in there and understand what is about to happen. I said it in 2020. We was going to have a fight revolution on school campuses, and it would be suburban campuses, East Coast, West Coast, gang territory, not gang territory, and then fighting and disputes would come to campus, and you better be proactively ready to prevent it. I said that in 2020 before COVID. Everything I said before COVID has come totally true. Wonder why. All y'all need to get in the Fight Institute. The Fight Institute page is over there. This has zero. This is about what you have to know if you run in a school today. If you've had one fight this year, get your admin in there, sit in your office, and come to a live training and listen to it, because you got to be proactive with fighting. So these are people, okay, you don't have a lot of fighting right now. This is the thing that amazed me the most. Why do I have so many A and B schools, blue ribbon, award-winning schools, that are getting commendations? Why are they using my trainings more than the failing schools? By the data, they're up. I got an A school district. It's one of my best clients. They've been an A for 11 straight years. They're one of my best clients. And swear by what I'm saying. You know why? Because they can see what I'm saying in that 3%. And that 3% had grown to 10% after COVID. And now you're over there at 13%. They saw it early and said, help us out. We see the trend. That's what the winners do. Proaction versus reaction. Leaders versus managers. Managers are waiting to receive instructions. Leaders give the instruction. Leaders have the vision. Managers carry out the vision. We need both. You can do both, but you need to know who you are. I am called to develop leaders. Leaders, the people who influence adults, people we want to follow. And that is you. Please share the video with friends and colleagues. If I can help you, always reach out. Looking forward to working with you soon. Be well.